As you know, Christmas is coming up, and there's going to be a big handful of games on Christmas Day. So I thought what we would do, the three of us, would give our chances of each of these games, our chances of watching them. So Andrew, I'll start with you. Our first game is look at the NBA. The Pelicans and the Heat are playing on Christmas Day. It's a pretty good game. Chance, you watching that game?
Yes, like for me with the NBA is on Christmas Day, it's usually not like the caliber of teams. It's like, well, it's kind of scheduling around when you're going to eat. It's like it depends if it's 12 o'clock. Like, yeah, I'll probably watch the early game because like that's before you usually eat, and it's like it doesn't matter who it is. This should be a good matchup. You got Zion, you got Jimmy Butler. It should be a fun game for sure. You got a young team in the Pelicans, but it's like I feel like this one's pretty high. I feel like it'll probably be maybe on in the background, maybe kind of like something like that. I feel like it's a pretty good game. That's just kind of how I'm feeling.
Yeah, I would say when it comes to me and NBA on Christmas, typically like we're going to family, we're traveling, so I can't say I watch the early game. I'm still in my house, and then the other games will be on in the background as we're hanging out with family and going all over the state and you know what have you. Um, but this year obviously very different. We're COVID, we're going to be home. It's just going to be me and my immediate family, so probably gonna be more locked into these games. So I'll say at a minimum, I'm gonna have all these games on. Whether or not I'm paying attention to every play is another thing. Pelicans Heat, yeah, I'm gonna watch. Look, any Zion did not play enough last year for me to really get a good taste of him, and I would really like to see him play some more this year. So I mean, that's one thing. Brandon Ingram is becoming a star in this league. I want to see him play. And the Heat, look, they came out of the East last year, played in the finals. I don't think they're gonna go back, but it should be a good matchup.
Yeah, look, I'm excited to see Zion. The Heat, of course, reigning Eastern Conference champs. They're good. There's a good chance of me watching this game. I'm going to give it 80% chance of me watching this game in particular. It's going to be 80%. All right, so let's move on. We got a lot to cover. Warriors Bucks. What do you think?
So for me, like my brother's a Warriors fan, so this will probably be high. And he's a big Steph Curry fan, and he thinks even sometimes Steph Curry's better than LeBron. He's sometimes feeling it when Curry was winning those championships, which I definitely don't agree with. So it's definitely those arguments are interesting, and I'll be tuned into this one to see what happens. Maybe Giannis is a big day. I'll be rooting for him against the Warriors.
Yeah, I would say, definitely gonna have it on. Like I said, whether I'm down, that's another thing. But the later games are more intriguing to me. This game is still somewhat interesting. Unfortunately, look, I'm a LeBron fan. I've always been a LeBron fan. He's my guy. He's my favorite NBA player of all time. So I have no love for the Warriors, needless to say, and I have no love for Steph Curry. So can't really say that I'll be rooting for them. You got Giannis off the Supermax deal. I mean, does that change at all how he's going to play Christmas? Probably be dialed in either way. Also a new look team, Drew Holiday's there now from Milwaukee. What's the dynamic there? Yeah, so I think I'm going to put this at 60% chance that I'm fully locked into this game.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of headlines going on this game. Obviously, the Warriors at any time are fun to watch. Giannis is fun to watch. I'm going to give this 75%. This is a 75% chance of me watching this game. All right, so you just talked about LeBron. Let's talk about the Lakers because they're playing on Christmas Day. They're playing the Mavericks. Excuse me. Ooh, the Mavericks. Mike, we'll start with you this time. What are the odds of you watching this game?
100% I will be watching this game. Now, like I said, I'm a big LeBron guy, and I'm a Knicks fan technically, but of my rooting interest, the Knicks are probably lowest on my list. I don't, scream and yell over them as I would a Met or Jet game, but I'm a Knicks fan. I like the Knicks. So, but when it comes to players, LeBron's my guy, like I said. So wherever he goes, I'm watching. I'm not a Lakers fan, but if he's going to play for the Lakers like he has for the past few years, I'm rooting for the Lakers. I want to see, this team coming off the championship. What I'm really intrigued about, and this isn't just the Lakers, it's probably more the league as a whole, especially teams that made deep playoff runs. This offseason was almost non-existent. They had almost no rest. This is the shortest span of time they've had between, the end of the season and the start of the season in terms of rest. It feels like, it was just a few months ago that we were crowning the champion. Now we're back on the court playing full-time games. So I'd be really interested to see how their bodies hold up. I would guess that, for these teams like the Lakers or the Clippers or, maybe not so much the Heat, but, the Bucks maybe, well, they didn't go that far, but I could see the teams resting a lot of players early in the season, especially the big name players, doing a lot of load management because there really wasn't a lot of off season. The Lakers also had some additions this year with, Dennis Schroeder and Marcus Gasol. And so I really, I'll be interested to see the new dynamic. So 100% going to watch this game, and I hope to see LeBron put it on a show.
So I would say in usual years it would probably be pretty high because usually, the Saints are playing on Christmas this year, probably be right around that time. So like I'm watching the Saints game 100% obviously, and then everything else would be 0. And also maybe if it just ends, I'm the type of fan, I love watching the post games, love looking at the stats. So I won't be dialed in on probably any game until maybe that late game, that Clippers Nuggets game at 10:30. That's a big enough layoff. But I would say for any game between like 4 and like 8:30, it's a no-go for me.
That's fair. No, but love watching LeBron. Mavs are a good team. I'm gonna give this one 73% is gonna be my percentage for this one. But let's stick around in the NBA. Nets Celtics. This is gonna be a good matchup. Two teams that are gonna compete in the East this year. Mike, what do you think?
Well, first, before I get into my likelihood to watch it, first off, I'm probably going to watch this game. I put it about 80% just because pure interest, but kind of say it is hilarious to me that the Nets have two of the best players in the NBA and nobody cares. Like people in New York, I'm an avid listener of WFAN. I'll occasionally, like once in like a lifetime, tune into ESPN 98.7. No one talks about the Nets. Nobody calls in to talk about the Nets, and they have Kevin Durant and Kyrie, and nobody cares. And that is hilarious to me. Meanwhile, we got the Knicks. They got Obi Toppin and Emmanuel Quickly, these younger guys they just drafted, and they got Mitchell Robinson, all this guys. They get more hype and more talk, and that's just the funniest thing to me. And I understand the Nets are always going to be the little brother in this town. The Jets and the Mets, they're little brothers too, but they still get a decent share of the New York market. The Nets, nobody cares, and I can't, as a New Jersey guy, I can't say, I feel like most of their fans are from Jersey and probably were hurt they left all those years ago. So it's hilarious to me that nobody cares. But that's not the point. The point is I'll probably watch this game just because I do want to see KD fully back from the injury. Kyrie, I got to be honest, the more this guy does his shenanigans, the more I don't care for him, especially saying he won't talk to the media. Grow up, will you please? Can you? I understand that he's had some challenges in his life. I fully appreciate that. He's done a lot of great stuff for social justice, which I fully endorse, and that's awesome. But like some of these shenanigans, throwing incense around the garden and saying the earth is flat, like Kyrie, can you please just do the things that are good and stop doing these crazy things? Like be more like LeBron, please, who does a great job on and off the court, but I don't know, but I'll probably watch this game. I put it at 80%.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because I think the Nets are a really interesting team because that dynamic is just, to me, so weird. It's like you would think more people would talk about it, but they're not. And I feel like, again, this is right going up against that Saints game, so 0% chance I'll be watching the Saints. But I wish this game was on at like 8 or after the Saints game or whatever, because I really want to see this matchup because I want to see how this Nets team looks. I'm very intrigued because they could either be really good and they could be a team that challenges the Lakers in the Eastern Conference, as I said before, or they could kind of flame out and injuries happen and all that stuff. It's going to be, to me, their season is one of the most interesting in the NBA, and I agree with you. It's kind of interesting, like no one's talking about them.
Yeah, I'm really interested in this game because it'd be really exciting, but I've already devoted such high percentages to all the other games. I'm going to have to.
You got to eat somewhere.
It's only going to be 66%. I'm sorry. There's only so much of me, So looking forward to watching 66% of the game. One more NBA matchup we want to talk about. That's Clippers, Nuggets. That should be a good one too. Galata, what do you think?
I'll be tuned into this one. I'll give it like 80. I think that's fair. I feel like this is a really good game. I feel like the Clippers, they've kind of been like this roller coaster ride. So, to watch them, watch a few stars and, watching Jokic play and those guys there, that Nuggets team, very, very interesting team to watch. And what they did last year in the bubble, I thought that was, they were definitely the underdog team, win a lot of games, come back. It was really entertaining to watch. So this one should definitely be good.
Yeah, I would say I'm going to put this one a little bit lower. I'm going to go about 15%. I'm just not a fan of really either team. Clippers, Kawhi is an amazing player, but nothing really excites me just about this game. The Nuggets are fine, but you just got to think about it logically. We're going towards the end of Christmas Day here. Later in the evening, I'll be watching sports all day already. by this point, I'm probably sportsed out. I'm probably watching a movie, maybe a Christmas movie, a Christmas classic like Die Hard would be a good choice on this day. But you can only watch so many sports in a day at a certain point. And I can envision myself now just switching gears here, watching something else. But at a minimum, when it comes to this game, high likelihood I have it on in the background, if that counts.
I'm really stretched here because all these games I want to see, but like I keep devoting too much percentage to other games. So this one's it's gonna be 40%. I'm sorry. There's only so much of me that can go around. So 40%, unfortunately.